I am disgusted by what is happening here, what is being done here to our entire system of justice overall. The people are losing faith right now in this country, in our institutions. They're losing faith in our system of justice.
Hold on a sec, I recognize that guy from somewhere. Isn't that the self-professed God-fearing Christian who, when asked about his policy positions, directed those who asked to the Bible where they would find the answers? And what is he doing now? Oh, he's in New York, bending the knee to a thrice married sociopath who was once found liable of sexual assault, now on trial for paying hush money to an adult film star that he allegedly had an affair with, all to influence an election. Right, just as Jesus intended.
We should also remind people that when asked for his worldview, when Mike Johnson became Speaker of the House, nobody knew anything about him. He said, "You want to know my worldview? Go read the Bible. That's what I stand for." And now today, Joe, he's down at the courthouse in Lower Manhattan defending the guy who's on trial for allegedly paying off a porn star for the alleged affair he had while his wife was home with their infant son.
The Republican Party has risen up boldly and bravely in defense of what they call adultery with porn stars, paying off the porn star secretly, altering your business records to cover up paying off the porn star secretly so that you might more successfully run for president. That is the position they took today. It'll be fascinating to see what their position is at their churches on Sunday about why they were at the porn star trial in another state where they don't live.
Today, the Republican Party further reiterated their want to work for the American people and focus on the things that are truly impacting them by leaving Washington to be at Trump's side as he takes naps in the courtroom. The Misfit Avengers were all there, from Byron Donalds to, of course, Speaker of the House Mike Johnson. But it is with Misfit Mike that I have the biggest issue with here, because man, nothing grinds my gears like the hypocrisy of white evangelical Christians who insist on suffocating everyone with their self-righteous aftershave while simultaneously embodying everything that Jesus stood against.
What I'm holding here is a copy of the New Testament Bible study course that was approved by and published for the public schools of Dallas, Texas Board of Education in September of 1946. The preface was written by Henry Van Dyke, and it's a wonderful summary of what the Bible means to us and to the world. And let me read you what it says here in the text. Born in the East and clothed in that form and imagery, the Bible walks the ways of the world with familiar feet and enters land after land to find its own everywhere.
I think it's a good thing that they are identifying themselves, the people who have completely allowed Donald Trump to devour their critical thinking skills and their political and moral independence. I mean, you know, Speaker Johnson is a guy who has said that the Bible is his guiding document and is basically the law of the land, and yet he's made the pilgrimage to New York to demonstrate, you know, how obsequious he can be to Donald Trump, a guy who is now an adjudicated rapist, an adjudicated fraudster in New York, and he's on trial for cooking the books for lots of money in order to cover up hush money payments to his porn star mistress. So, you know, I'm a member of the Free Thought Caucus, and we've been saying all along that Speaker Johnson's adherence to religion is just a form of political tribalism. It doesn't have anything to do with religious principle, and now he's showing the whole world that that's true.
In a matter of months since vowing to remain true to his strict religious beliefs when elected to be the Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson has done nothing but take orders from a man who shelled out hundreds of millions of dollars to settle a sexual assault case that he was found liable of committing. The same man who is currently on trial as the details of his infidelity are read aloud, which according to those in the courtroom is putting more people to sleep than it did Stormy the night in question. But when tasked with reporting on this flagrant hypocrisy, MSNBC's Willie Geist couldn't help but call it to attention.
We should also remind people that when asked for his worldview, when Mike Johnson became Speaker of the House, nobody knew anything about him. He said, "You want to know my worldview? Go read the Bible. That's what I stand for." And now today, Joe, he's down at the courthouse in Lower Manhattan defending the guy who's on trial for allegedly paying off a porn star for the alleged affair he had while his wife was home with their infant son.
And Willie, for the guy who's second in line to be president of the United States, this is really demeaning. It's demeaning for him to be craven, to go into that courthouse. If he doesn't think, and I've said I didn't think this trial should be, I don't think this trial should have been brought. I've always said that. All right, he can say that as Speaker of the House, but to be dragged into a courtroom in Manhattan, to be a sycophant to Donald Trump, a guy who has promised to be an authoritarian leader when he gets in power, really, it's deeply depressing and it's beneath the dignity of the office.
And here's my hot take. Are you ready? Trump is a blatantly horrible person. It's outright. Everybody can see it. Mike Johnson is worse, in my opinion, because Mike Johnson is the type of person who will wield their faith as a sword to attack gay people or enforce medieval beliefs on a woman's autonomy over their own body, only to then quickly shelve that same faith when it comes to, I don't know, migrants just seeking a better life in America, or I don't know, focusing on common sense gun control to stop people being massacred. Or in this latest example, when it comes to defending the rights of a former president to do whatever the hell he wants without reprieve. They're worse because, as Kendrick said in a recent song, they'll kill you, then bury the Bible.
MeidasTouch, were you surprised or disappointed to see Speaker Johnson in New York outside the Trump trial courtroom?
I have not had an opportunity to talk to Speaker Johnson about the rationale for his visit. It is extraordinary that so many extreme MAGA Republicans who are apparently part of the Red Tie Brigade felt the need to bend the knee to the insurrectionists in chief, as opposed to staying in Washington and doing the business of the American people.
But for them to be now the party that's completely and 100% in favor of sex of any kind with porn stars at any state of marriage you might be in, but totally opposed to any possible abortion option that might result from the Republican candidate having sex with a porn star. Yes. They have come down very solidly against that end of the whole story. If they can't let the story end that way, but they will defend every other thing that Donald Trump did in that room with Stormy Daniels and everything he's done about it since.
At least with Trump, he's as blatant a con man as they come. You know exactly what you're getting with him. He could not quote a single passage from the Bible that he's trying to flog to you for $60 a pop.
Christians are under siege. We must protect content that is pro-God. We love God, and we have to protect anything that is pro-God. We must defend God in the public square and not allow the media or the left-wing groups to silence, censor, or discriminate against us. We have to bring Christianity back into our lives and back into what will be again a great nation. Our founding fathers did a tremendous thing when they built America on Judeo-Christian values. Now that foundation is under attack, perhaps as never before. What can we do? Stand up, speak out, and pray that God will bless America again. I'm proud to endorse and encourage you to get this Bible.
You mentioned the Bible. You've been talking about how it's your favorite book. And you said, I think last night in Iowa, some people are surprised that you say that. I'm wondering what one or two of your most favorite Bible verses are and why.
I wouldn't want to get into it because to me that's very personal. You know, when I talk about the Bible, it's very personal. So I don't want to get into verses. I don't want to get into...
There's no verse that means a lot to you that you think about or cite?
The Bible means a lot to me, but I don't want to get into specifics.
Even to cite a verse that you like?
No, I don't want to do that.
You're an Old Testament guy or a New Testament guy?
Probably equal. I think it's just an incredible, the whole Bible is an incredible, I joke very much so. They always hold up the Art of the Deal. I say my second favorite book of all time. But I just think the Bible is just something very special.
But Mike Johnson, a self-professed God-fearing scholar, well, he'll rhyme off passages from the Bible like they were porn sites that his son was monitoring for him, to then contradict biblical teachings with his action.
Do you ever notice that it's the politicians who talk the most about being a Christian who are the least Christ-like? You can't call yourself a Christian and deny health care to the sick. You can't call yourself a Christian and vote to cut food stamps for the poor. You can't call yourself a Christian and reject the stranger seeking asylum at our southern border. You can't call yourself a Christian and destroy God's creation with greenhouse gases. And you can't call yourself a Christian and discriminate against your neighbor because of their race, gender, or sexual orientation. I personally know plenty of Hindus, Buddhists, Jews, Muslims, Sikhs, and atheists who are more Christ-like than some of the self-proclaimed Christians serving in elected office.
Love this video? Make sure you stay up to date on the latest breaking news and all things Meidas by signing up to the MeidasTouch newsletter at MeidasTouch.com/newsletter.